Hey, what's going on YouTube? My name is Matticus. I've got a background in cybersecurity and penetration testing, and I wanted to look into some of the experiences I've had with helping companies adjust their security posture to be safer in the wake of or with the increased threat of, violence, robbery, and the physical intrusion of their places of business. So I have some YouTube videos pulled up that I want to go through and give some perspective on. Later on in the video, I will get into some tips that I have for anyone that has a large collection that maybe needs some additional security around it, especially if you're running a retail store or if it's well understood where you're storing your expensive cardboard.
Stealing $15,000 worth of cards.
39 seconds.
My first thought was I hope that my employee was a...
Okay. And that's great that his first thought is about his employee. Let's talk about the card lab. From this perspective, what are we doing right and what are we doing wrong? I would say, for one, I see loaded glass display cases that looks like they weren't even touched during this robbery. I see a lot of sealed product just out on an open shelf. Anytime you're adding a lock or you're adding a gate, a barrier, you're going to decrease the likelihood of an attacker actually going for a heist like this. Some of those deterrents could have been used in this instance to make it more difficult to grab the sealed product, and that may have staved off this particular group of thieves. I think there are some additional concerns around the state of the display cases, the seeming lack of employees in this situation as well. It's not clear to me based on this video, like where the employee was or how these guys got in the door in the first place. Maybe they'll address that.
Night.
I'm relieved that she was not downstairs because that could have been way worse, but she...
And cards like these ones have tripled in
Pokemon
value.
cards.
Their worth. Just days ago in New Jersey, another store was robbed of $40,000 worth of Pokemon cards. Games of Brentwood, too, says they've been hit. Cards. Games.
Okay, so right here, there they are, breaking through those deterrents we talked about before, right? So what's the issue here? We did have a locked display case here. These glass display cases are always going to be easy to intrude, right? Like defeating the door, defeating the window, defeating the wall. This is how these robberies take place. And these are the kinds of risk areas that you need to take into account. So if you have a card shop and you have $30,000 worth of product behind a locked glass shelf, you're putting too much weight onto the fact that you have a lock on that shelf. It's not an effective deterrent. Adding a cage in this instance would have helped, but of course, if they smash the glass, that could still really damage the product. Again, I'm not trying to speak poorly of any of these people that have experienced these robberies. My intention, and I hope for this to be kind of more a long-running thing that I do, diving into these robberies and maybe even getting an opportunity to work with some of these card shop owners on how to secure their property.
Games of Brentwood, too, says they've been hit.
All right. So as we're talking about these properties, right, what is the first way into this building? First of all, it's a shared space. So there could be adjacent doors from other businesses. That would be a point that you need to secure. This big wall of glass panels is great for, customers walking by and people walking in and foot traffic, and I get all that. But if you decide to put your card store in a strip mall, have a backup plan for your expensive merchandise, right? Have a safe installed. Try and work with your landlord to see if they will, pay for half the installation or something. If you just have a wall of glass windows, you cannot keep the thieves out. So you need to secure your merchandise somewhere where they won't be able to get to it. Whether that's on-site or off-site, just take it into account when you're doing your daily work.
Stepping up their security in the last few weeks.
Since we've had our incident here, we've completely rebuilt our security system. We made sure our alarms are much better. We put in different kinds of IR sensors. It's not going to stop someone who's really determined, but we're as ready as we can be.
He says as the market
Great
goes
response.
down, the price of the card goes up. Right now, the most valuable card packs can be worth up to 7 digits.
It's easy to move on the secondhand market, it's not traceable for a large part, and they're more valuable than they've ever been.
Brentwood police are investigating.
This is another thing worth mentioning. If you are running a card store and you have, say $100,000 worth of product on hand or more, it is worth reaching out to your local law enforcement agencies just to let them know that, hey, there have been a lot of robberies of similar scale and scope businesses to mine. And, my business is at this address. If you ever hear about it, blah, blah, blah. So in this video, we're going to see a little bit of a different situation where there are actual people under threat from the robber in question. And this situation was mostly handled well by the card shop owner and the other employees on site. And then they do something that's pretty stupid at the end.
On the morning of June 18th, security video shows a man walk into the Missing No Pokemon card store in St. Alexis, holding what appears to be a firearm. He's not looking for cash, but for expensive collectibles.
Came inside, so I step up and I went to him. Then he showed me a gun. And he tell to everyone to stand up.
The store was full of customers, one a 10-year-old boy. They stand paralyzed while the robber fills a hockey bag with $30,000 worth of merchandise. On his way out the door, gun still in hand, he says thank you. But owners Jean-François Etu and Charles Bro-Parizeau weren't going to let him get away easy. They burst out of the store with baseball bats, smashing the robber's taillights and passenger side window as he
This
speeds
is
away.
not the move.
We want
do not do
the
this.
police recognize the car.
Their strategy
I get
worked.
being frustrated about it, but if someone shows up with a gun, what you need to do is let them do whatever they're going to do, and then, come out on the other side
several more
alive.
charges.
This is an
related to a string of
entirely
other
different kind of
robberies dating back to
situation,
April.
but we see some of the same kind of issue. Very valuable product just out on an open shelf behind the counter, at a cage, at a lock. Add some friction between the attacker and, whatever you're trying to protect. Here, I think they did a good job of just, standing down and keep their customers safe, because really that's the much bigger liability in a situation like this.
He already had the time to take the hockey bag with all the stuff that he stole to us and give them to another person. Okay. So we didn't get our stock back.
Customers at Missing No now have to buzz to get in. There's a button behind the till that unlocks the front door and extra security cameras covering every square inch of the store. These bars were installed 2 years ago when the store first opened, as the value of Pokemon cards began to skyrocket.
And I think that is a valid approach, vetting people before they're actually able to come into your establishment. When it's a matter of life or death, you need to act towards protecting human life, especially if you're the shop owner in this situation, right? Like, no matter what, they could grab all your Evolving Skies packs in your glass case, but that's a lot less valuable than your life or the life of, that kid in your card shop. Good on these guys for keeping the violence back until the guy got in his car, but that is not the move. Do not chase after such an attacker, right? Reach out to your local law enforcement, let them handle it. Have an insurance policy, start your claim, know what was taken, have video recording. Like, you're doing a lot of it already, but even now, even post robbery, right? They're showing this guy his inventory. I see 4 cases of sealed product just out in an open shelf right behind the counter still, right? Once these videos go up and people see that your card shop is a valid target, you really need to move to secure your merchandise, or else it will happen again. This is a game it's not about not being a target. You will be a target. It's about being a more difficult target. It's about being a target that introduces more friction to the attack path here. They'll exploit whatever they can. They'll jump over the counter. They'll break the glass. They'll run a stolen vehicle into your building. And what are you going to do then, right? You need to account for these situations because they're happening in the real world.
This is what they could have gotten.
A valuable hobby is attracting a new kind of collector: thieves.
that Discord was
smashing through a glass door at 2 a.m. Wednesday, emptying
smashing through a glass door at 2 a.m., right? All right, where's the
the
product?
back shelf of Lurk's
Oh,
cards
here we
and
go, out on
collectibles
an
in
open
Gloucester
shelf.
Township.
As sad as it sounds, it was bound to happen with the current craze of how Pokemon is and the popularity of it.
Julian Salugo is the manager and says thieves made off with about $1,000 of cards.
We had kind of like decoy boxes, kind of proxy boxes on the shelves, just in case we were prepared for something like this to happen.
Really, really smart. Really, really, really smart. Have some boxes out that you have no intention of selling, that are, whether it's a low value product or it appears to be a higher value product than it is, like literally an empty booster box with rocks and stones in it. Taking this kind of a approach to an attacker who's looking at your business as an opportunity to like come up is exactly the kind of thing you can do to really limit the actual expense to you at the end of the day. Love this answer from this guy.
It definitely seems like it's all connected. It's the same MO.
Earlier in July, just 3 miles away, Frank Romaine's shop was hit.
You've been broken into. Most of the stuff that was stolen was either sealed Pokemon wax or Pokemon slab.
Thieves smashed display counters and made off with $10,000 in Pokemon cards in seconds.
At the end of the day, this is a hobby. It's meant for families and kids and, collectors to enjoy. So, as best as possible, wish this never happened, wish it didn't happen.
This red Ford appears in surveillance video from both card shop break-ins, and now Washington Township Police here have issued an arrest warrant for a 31-year-old. They say the other suspect they are still looking to identify.
If you own a card shop right now in 2026, you can more or less expect to be targeted by this kind of behavior. What you can do. I talked about the safe. Let's talk now about how you can sell inventory without keeping it on site. If you're someone that has $100,000, $200,000 of inventory and you're moving through it at a regular pace, you're going to know what you need to actually have on site and what you could arrange for a pickup for. These slabs that these guys have are already being traded on eBay using all of the PSA Vault. There are many instances already where either authenticators or other trusted parties are holding on to these. I get that there's some novelty in having that physically on site, but if you have the PSA 10 Crystal Lugia from Aquapolis, when you're walking through the parking lot at a card show, that is a risk. You need to take that risk into account. What is that, a $40,000 to $60,000 card? That's a lot of money. That's life-changing money for somebody. The more people know where you are and where you're keeping your expensive Pokemon cards, the better and easier of a target you become. I'd like to see more card shops introducing like a badge-in system, any entrances that are not open to the public. When you are bringing someone in from the public, have some way of vetting that person, whether, depending on your risk profile, you may need to introduce metal detector or some other mechanism for making sure that that person either can't enter or can't leave once they have entered. In the instance that you're going to trap the attacker in the store, you need to have a safe location to be able to, provide to your customers and your employees. Really, the issue with these kind of strings of thefts is it's going to impact insurance for your business. All of the kind of solutions to these problems that we've talked about are expensive to implement. Everything comes at a cost, right? I think the one thing I learned from what we watched today is definitely the idea of introducing like kind of decoy boxes. I think that is really, really smart. I think if you have slabs or sealed product that's worth over $1,000, you should keep that in a location that is not easy to tamper with or get into. Just be prepared for that. It's worth mentioning that a motivated attacker with enough resources will always be able to pull off these kinds of attacks. And that's where having a good insurance policy and, just being prepared for an incident of this scale is really important, right? Like if all the inventory you have on site is all the inventory you have and you wouldn't be able to bounce back from losing it, take it into account that you might need to start putting some inventory back for if something like this does happen to you. In the future, I'd like to talk more about the cybersecurity side of things and even some of the control systems you can introduce, like man traps and badged entry, and the ways that those can be bypassed, right? Because everything you introduce can be bypassed. But I really think that if we start the trend of adding a little bit of friction at every possible avenue, we're going to see these robberies really rapidly decrease. If you're a good target, or if you've been targeted in the past, I'd love for you to reach out to me. You can just comment here on YouTube, and I'd love to start the dialogue of how to protect your store in particular. This has been a little bit of a different video for me. Let me know if you liked it. Again, my name is Maticus, and I'm really excited to meet you all. If you made it this far in the video, please subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what else you'd like to see me talk about, or if there are other cybersecurity concepts that you think could intertwine with the trading card community. I'd be very interested. Until next time, see ya.